Chamber of Commerce, and we are so thrilled to have all of you here today. We have a lot of special guests, and I hope you have enjoyed the food. I would like to start by calling the Reverend Dr. Claudia Nelvin from St. Andrews by the Sea Episcopal Church to lead us in a prayer. Claudia? If you would all stand, please.
Lord God, thank you for this gorgeous view of this beautiful place. And thank you for our state representatives and our senators, Lord, for Senator LaMantia and Representative Lopez. Thank you that for the openness of government that we enjoy and our ability to give feedback and talk with our representatives. We pray today that you would come and be with us, send your Holy Spirit upon this gathering, that it would be productive and helpful to all who are here. Thank you for the food that we've shared and the abundance that you provide for us every day. And may we always learn to trust and walk in that abundance. In your name we pray. Amen.
If you would remain standing, please, for the Pledge of Allegiance to the American flag and then the Texas flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
now to the Texas flag.
I honor the Texas flag and pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. You may be seated. So next, if you would please welcome, we want to recognize our luncheon sponsor today, which is Fog Glass Construction. Most of you are very familiar with the name, and we thank them so much. And we have Sam Saldana here to represent. We would like him to say a few words.
Thank you very much. Hello, my name is Samuel Saldana. I've been with Fog Glass for about 14 years. I'm a freaking search and services manager there. Enjoy my time there with Fog Glass. Our time here in the Valley, we are celebrating our 70-year anniversary. We started 30 years ago here, or it's been 30 years since we've been working here in the Valley, and actually the Convention Center was one of our first projects. So we're really pleased and happy to be part of our community. We stand by growth. We stand by just being a partner, and just want to make sure that we're being a good partner, good steward of who we need to be in our community. We service Rio Grande Valley. We service Corpus Christi. We are statewide, state-based contractor. We enjoy 9 offices throughout the state. And again, when we go back to community-based driven opportunities, that's what we stand for. We want to make sure that we're hiring locally, that we are just part of the community. We go to church in our communities. We go to work. We go to school in our community. So, that's something that we really want to strive for. South Padre Island has been very special to us. We want to make sure that, again, that we're just a good partner to our community. I actually live 21 miles away, so fortunately I was able to grow up and just experience South Padre Island as youth, and now, and the development that has come about is amazing. It grants for people in this room that have done special things to make sure that we are growing and we're going the right direction. A little bit about Fog Glass and what we've done here locally in South Padre Island. We have projects such as Citro that we did here not too long ago. We also have built the Brownsville South Padre Island Airport. So that was a fantastic venture for us. And we were just recently awarded in McAllen, we were recently awarded the Quinta Matuzlan project, which is something that again, back to community, you know, it's going to be a urban ecology for Wild Birding Center. It's going to be an amazing project. It goes back to family. It goes back to our for the younger generation to make sure that you're enjoying our area, right? So thank you very much for your time. You know, I want to also just mention I'm humbly and honored to have been selected the board, a new member of the board for South Padre Island Chamber of Commerce. So I'm really excited to do that. So just want to thank you very much, and please enjoy your time, and thank you.
Thank you so much, and a big thank you to Spotlight for always supporting events like this, because without our membership and our sponsors, we could not hold these luncheons and events and economic development meetings that we hold. So we're very thankful for that. Now it's my honor to welcome and recognize our elected officials that are here today. If I could call your name, would you stand up, please? So, of course, we have Senator Morgan LaMantia, who you will hear from in a few moments, and Representative Janie Lopez. We have Cameron County Judge Eddie Trevino Jr. From South Padre Island, we have Mayor Patrick McNulty. Councilwoman Eva Jean Dalton. Councilwoman Reese Langston. Councilman Ken Metters. And Councilman Joe Rico. We also have from the city of San Benito, Commissioner Tom Goodman. And from the Laguna Madre Water District, we have Chairman Scott Friedman. So today we are very honored, and I want to thank all three of you, but especially you two ladies, for being here. We have Senator Morgan LaMantia, who is District 27, and Representative Janie Lopez, House District number 37, along with our program moderator, who many of you have known for very long, Luis Sanchez, who was the legislative consultant for the city, well, for Senator Lucio Jr.
Correct.
Thank you. All right. So, Senator LaMantia, would you go ahead and take a place up on the stage and have a seat? So, Senator LaMantia was elected to the Texas State Senate in November of 2022 to represent the newly drawn Senate District 27, which spans 8 counties along the Gulf Coast from the border of Mexico to the coastal bend. A Valley native and 6th generation Texan, Senator LaMantia is part of the next generation of leadership in her family business that supports over 1,200 jobs across the state of Texas and beyond. The senator heads up data and analytics and serves as the in-house counsel for L&F distributors, carrying on the legacy of her grandfather by building opportunities through hard work and giving back to the community. Senator LaMantia is stepping up to provide a generation of leadership for South Texas as one of the newest members in the Texas Senate. Her priorities include expanding access to affordable health care, standing by our teachers and public schools, and supporting rural communities. Senator LaMantia, thank you. We are so proud to have you join us today. Representative Lopez, would you please join Senator LaMantia at the front? So in November 2022, Janie Lopez made history by becoming the first Republican Hispanic elected as a state representative to represent House 37 District. She graduated from San Benito High School in 1997 and became the first one in her family to attend and graduate college with honorary awards with a master's in mental health. She is currently pursuing a doctorate in community care and counseling, as if she doesn't have enough to do. Guided by her Christian values, her priorities are to represent the conservative family values of Willacy and Cameron counties. Representative Lopez has been appointed to serve on the Environmental Regulation Committee and the Juvenile Justice and Family Issues Committee. As a member of the Policy Committee, Texas House Republican Party Caucus, Aerospace Caucus, Texas Conservative Caucus, House Water Caucus, and Texas Energy and Climate Caucus, her goals are to lower the cost of living, secure our border, properly fund our schools, protect life in the womb, stop the defunding of police, fight human trafficking, and defend the constitutional rights of all Texans. And last but not least, Mr. Sanchez, would you please join the ladies? Louis is a veteran of the Texas Capitol with 16 years of legislative experience, having previously served a decade as Chief of Staff to retired Senator Eddie Lucio Jr. While on staff, he was assigned stewardship of several pieces of legislation, which have long-lasting contributions in the state. Such bills as authorizing space launch operations in Texas, appropriations with which incentivized a spaceport in South Texas, and bills which established the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley and its School of Medicine, to name a few. I want to welcome all of our guests today, and Mr. Sanchez is going to serve as the moderator. They'll talk a bit, discuss things they've been doing, and then we do have questions that have been submitted by chamber members that they will be discussing. So, have at it. You got it.
Thank you, Lita. All right, thank you so much. Senator Representative, thank you for being here today. We're certainly honored on behalf of the Mayor, South Padre Island City Council, the Chamber, and the greater Laguna Madre community. Thank you for taking time to be here this afternoon to talk about the legislative session. We really appreciate you. We'll start with Senator LaMantia. Do you have some opening remarks that you'd like to make to the folks here?
I just want to say thank you so much to the Chamber and Small Glass for putting this together and bringing us here today, because it's so important for us after session to come back to our communities, answer any questions, and tell you what we did while we were in Austin. But even more important is to listen to the questions y'all ask, because the questions you ask have to do with the issues that are most important to you. And that's the most important thing we can do, is always listen to the community, listen to what your needs are, so that we can prepare for next session, and that during the interim, when we have committee assignments, when we have a special session like the one most likely coming up in October, we know what the priorities are, we know what to fight for. So thank you all so much for your time today.
Thank you, Representative. Any comments or questions or comments? Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with everybody today. And, I just want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to represent you and represent the needs here in the Valley. I always tell people, I can talk all about counseling all the time, right? But you're the experts. You're the experts that know what is needed in your communities, what is needed in your cities, and how we can best represent you. And, the legislative branches, it's 3 branches, right? You have the executive branch, you have the legislative branch. They can't function without each other. So we need the governor, we need the House, we need the Senate, right? And we all have to work together as a team. And likewise, you all, you've been working together as an RGB. And that's the most important thing, that you've been representing yourselves out in Austin. You're that voice that your community members need. We're that extra person that joins your team now in representing the needs that are important to our constituents. And so just thankful to you all, to God, that I'm able to serve in this capacity.
Great, thank you. And so I want to say thank you to the chamber members who submitted the questions here today that have been curated for you this afternoon. First, we want to start off with important issues from this past legislative session. Senator, what do you feel was an important issue to you, and that was in which you were instrumental in passing for the Rio Grande Valley?
So there's a lot of issues that were really important that came up. But one of the ones that we talked about, before going to Austin and we continue to fight for was public education, our teachers. And something that we passed was a COLA for some of our teachers. So that's a cost of living adjustment. And that was, I believe, it's not just the COLA, but also the 13th check. But in order to make sure that that COLA goes into place, we have a constitutional amendment on the ballot November 7th that we need your help to pass to make sure that those funds go to our retired teachers and help them. Because as you know, inflation affects our retired community more than anybody else, and we need to make sure that we take care of our teachers for all the work that they put in the past. So that COLA was incredibly, incredibly important. And then also, as all of y'all heard, the property tax relief bill. That took everyone in the House working together, everyone in the Senate, and especially the governor, state governor's office working together. We all knew property tax relief was something that needed to happen. It was just a conversation about what was the best way. It took regular session and 2 special sessions to get it done, but we did, and I'm very, very proud of that bill because it affects all Texans statewide, not just one area or region, but everyone across the board. So we hope that's going to make some very big improvements for our communities.
Representative, same question for you. Is there a bill significant that you felt that you were instrumental in passing that benefits your constituents?
Well, I'll tell you what, we had 8,000 bills submitted, and out of those 8,000 bills, 1,300 passed, right? And so I can sit here for hours and hours and talk about all the important bills that were passed, but definitely property tax relief was a big one. I sat personally with the governor and talked to him about compression tax and talked to him about the homestead exemption going from 40,000 to 100,000. Looking at the census, we know that here in South Texas, before COVID happened, the last census, the median market value for a home was about 92,000. That's in Cameron County. I represent part of Cameron County and all of Willacy County. And in Willacy County, my median market value home is 62,000. So definitely was going to benefit the valley. And so I deeply advocated for those 2 items to pass. And of course, if you're a business owner, you'll be getting some tax deductions as well. The school taxes, you'll be earning you'll be saving between 28% to 40% on that as well. And I know that Abby, my assistant here, did a great job in making copies for y'all, so you'll have copies of those flyers. Another thing that was very important for us here in the Valley, since before I got into office, a constituent contacted me and said, Janie, I want to show you the issues with the flooding. And he drove me around and showed me all the drainage areas in San Benito, and I got to see how, some areas have the drainage ditches that are built and they have concrete, they're nice and wide, they're really pretty. You just go to where the water tower is in San Benito, next to Dr. Garza, you're going to see that really nice one that was built a few years ago when the construction for that school was done. Not then, it was done now that they're building those 2 new buildings. But then right across the street is another drainage ditch that's full with trees and grass, and so it's very hard for water to flow easily through there. And then you get to other areas where there's just flat land. So even if you have these nice drainage ditches that are making the water flow when it rains, it comes to an area where it's flat. And now all that water just disperses into the neighborhoods, right? And so I got to see firsthand the drainage issues that we had, and so that was a very important bill to me. And in meeting with my constituents and meeting with the cities, they said, Janie, we get some money through grants and funding from the state, but it's not enough. Let's think about Puerto Rico. Let's think about Primera, Combs. I mean, think about it. The tax base there, the homeowner tax base, is not enough to be able to say we need to be able to pay this loan back if we got this loan from the state, right? You're not getting a whole lot of money there to pay back those loans. So they said, we get indebted, we're not able to get more loans, and so why don't you help us pass a bill to say loan forgiveness for the baddies, right? And so that was one of the big bills that we had. Unfortunately, Texas Water Development Board said, Janie, you're going to deplete all our funds in Texas. We can't do that, unfortunately. So then we reworked the bill with Texas Water Development Board, and they were able to come to an agreement with us, because that's the thing about bills, right? Remember what I told you earlier, out of 8,000, only 1,300 passed, so a lot of them were died. We didn't want the bill to die, so we resurrected it, and working together with Texas Water Development Board, we came to an agreement that they would study the issues down here in South Texas in the flatland areas where we have below sea level areas, right? And see how it's more costly in other areas up north, right? You go to Austin, you have hills, water drains naturally, natural drainage, right? Not here. We have to build it. And you all that are involved in building aspects, and I know as a former school board member, it's expensive, right? It's expensive to build. And so that's another project that I'm very proud of, and thank you for the support, Senator LaMantia at the Senate. Like I said, we can't work without each other, right? So the House passed, we got the bill passed through the House, and then Senator LaMantia carried it in the Senate for us. So I'm very thankful for that, and I kept communication with the governor, letting him know, hey, this is something we need to pass. Speaker Phelan was very supportive. He's been down here to South Texas also. The Lieutenant Governor has been down here as well. And so they were all very supportive in us getting this legislation through.
Thanks so much. Now that was House Bill 4742, correct? That creates
Yes.
artificial drainage. One of the things that we love about the Texas legislature is that it's a very bipartisan nature there. And so you see members from both chambers, members of both parties working together. This was a bill that you successfully were able to pass for the benefit of the community. So we're very proud of you both for being able to do that. Now, as you mentioned, Representative, the system is designed to fail. Only a fraction of the number of bills that pass through the legislature actually make it to the end. And sometimes that leaves a lot of unfinished business. So we'll turn to you, Senator. Is there any unfinished business from the previous legislature that you hope to take up in the future?
Yes, there's a few items, but I would say one of the most important ones has to do with TWIA. So, as you guys all know, our TWIA rates did not increase this year, which we're very, very thankful for. But we need to look at TWIA and restructure it and find ways for the rest of the state to help make sure that TWIA is fully funded and sustainable. Because for a lot of us on the coast, even though we get this great property tax relief coming up, our wind insurance is more expensive than our property taxes. So despite having property tax relief, it kind of makes it moot because our wind insurance, not only is it more expensive, but it keeps going up. And so we need to find ways as a legislature to step in and try to decrease those costs while not eliminating coverage. One of the most important bills that we worked on, and we're going to continue to work on next session, that we weren't able to get through, was a TWIA policy for our public school districts. Like many of you guys have heard, Point Isabel ISD gives back millions of dollars back to the state every year because the state says that they collect too much in property taxes. Well, the problem with that is that when the state, when TEA looks at the formula funding, they don't take into account the huge cost of wind insurance that the school has to pay for to cover those buildings. The costs it takes to replace an AC unit because you live so close to the water and you have that salt water deteriorating all your equipment. That needs to be taken into account for all of our coastal communities when they talk about funding our public schools. So that is a big issue that not only affects everyone along the coast, but affects our school districts as well. And so when we talk about making sure that our school districts are fully funded, we need to make sure that they're fully funded equally across the board. And this is an additional cost the rest of the state doesn't have to deal with, and we hope to get them more money next session. In addition to that is just public education. We weren't able as a legislature to come together on public education. That's why we're most likely going to have a second special session this year in October. We're going to be refiling that TWIA bill as regards to school districts and hopefully going to get more money for our public schools across the state, but also take care of our schools along the coast as well with those unique needs.
Representative, same question for you. Any items that were left pending that you'd like to address in the next legislative session?
Definitely. Definitely we need need to keep fighting for more funding down here for the drainage issues that we have. So once the study is done, we'll keep fighting for that. And I'm thankful too that the state has listened to us and that more funding is already coming down here to South Texas. We're getting more funding for drainage issues, for water, for water, right? I know there's a lot of you working on the desal plans, and more for infrastructure as well. Definitely we'll keep fighting for the causeway, right? I explained, hey, this bridge is 50 years old, and yes, it's been maintained by TxDOT, but there's a safety issue there that's involved, and we will keep fighting for that as well. We had put in a rider request for $500 million, and you know, altogether we put a request for $1.2 billion for the valley, and we were able to get a few of them. One was for a rider TIC, and another one was for the School of Medicine also that we got funding for UTRGV, and we got money also for the Iwo Jima Museum. Now that's part of the Texas Historical Commission. So just want to mention here, you all have some flyers that my Abby printed for you all. On the second page there, page 3, it does have how the money was divided in the state. And so 34% of that is going to go to public education. So one of the big topics right now is the school choice. I've heard from a lot of pastors, a lot of priests, they're saying we want school choice because we don't want what's happening in the public schools where our kids are learning things that we don't agree with, that are not matching our values. So they're saying we want to have school choice for kids, and also for kids that are in schools that are failing, right? And so having that, the parents have the option of where do you want to take your child, what's the best fit for your child. That's public education is getting 34% of the money, natural resources 1.8, general government 4.2, and you can go on and see the rest there. Public safety 9.9. But I will continue working also on education. As a licensed counselor, former school counselor myself, I feel that it's important that we prevent, not be reactive, but more be preventative. The school shooting in Uvalde was very devastating, and I feel that that young man was only 18 years old, and that we in the school system should be able to provide services to these kids. Right now we have schools that have one counselor for 700 kids, and you know, they don't get that individualized attention that they should. I used to work with the immigrant shelter and work with immigrant kids coming in. If we were one counselor to, at the most, there was 24 kids. But why in our public school systems it's different, right? So one of the bills that I did have and passed the House but didn't make it in the Senate had to do with school counselors in schools so that they can do their job, what they're hired for, and be an asset to their schools, help improve academics, help improve the behavior problems that they're having, but also teaching these kids lifelong skills that will help prevent something like a shooting like it happened in Uvalde. And so that's one bill that I will keep working on for sure, for the benefit of our kids.
Thank you, Representative. You did mention Second Access Causeway, which is very important to the community here in South Padre Island. Senator, we know that that currently the proposed Second Access Causeway is still in its environmental phase, which means the environmental impact study still remains to be completed. We know that the budget next session will be a Senate bill. What do you propose as a strategy, assuming that the environmental phase can reach its benchmarks in time for appropriations? What strategy would you propose for being successful next legislative session?
To continue working together. We've got Senator Chuy Hinojosa. He is the vice chair of finance, and he's the senator for Hidalgo County all the way to Corpus. He very much supports the Second Causeway as well, and we're going to need everyone in the Rio Grande Valley to come together and be in agreement on this and be one voice for the entire region that this is a priority for us, that this is something we need and the entire region recognizes it. Because when we have the support of the entire county, the region, the valley on a project this big that's proposed in 2023 dollars to cost over $1 billion, we really need as much support as possible. So I would say continue to talk to our elected officials. I know that County Judge Trevino, he's spoken with our city governor and our governor, both of which have said that they support and want to see the second causeway happen. Well, we need to make sure they don't forget that they told us that they are there and they're going to support it, and that they're willing to put the money behind the project as well. This year, we've seen RGV NPO, the 5th largest in the state, get more money than we've gotten ever, probably over $937 million. That's for the entire region. So we're talking about $1 billion for South Padre. We need everyone working together on this. What we also need to do is, when that environmental study comes out, we need to keep constant communication with TxDOT, because once the environmental study is out, it's now their job to put together the plans and make sure everything is built the correct way and takes into account those ecological issues that were presented and brought up in this study. So as we continue to work together and have those voices at the RMA, at the NPO, in TxDOT, we can start to see things happen. But so long as we have everyone in the community talking about it, that's what we can fight to get it done and show people how important it is. Because as we all know, tourism to South Padre affects the entire Rio Grande Valley and really the whole state, because we have people coming down here from all over the country. When you say you're from South Texas, they always go, "Where's that?" You say Harlingen, they're not sure, but they know where South Padre Island is.
All right. Representative, this question's for you. So this legislative session saw a once-in-a-generation budget surplus, and that was returned to the voters in the form of historic tax cuts. Did you vote to increase the homestead exemption, and why?
I did, and I briefly mentioned already, it was something that was going to benefit South Texas. We live in a different area than you do, Dallas or Austin, and so that was going to be a benefit for us. And so I know you're going to have a question on you want me to talk about the circuit breakers? No.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. One of the other things that's included on the tax break is the circuit breakers, and you have one of these sheets there in front of you as well. And it's
this is the benefit to small business owners, correct?
It's the appraisal of, it's the benefit for property tax owners. So it's for anything that is valued under $5 million, And so what the circuit breakers do, it's a targeted property tax reduction program that operates kind of like a circuit breaker, right? Before a fire takes place, the circuit breaker shuts it down to prevent, right? So this is a circuit breaker is kind of like when there's property owners that can't afford to pay their taxes anymore, they'll be able to apply for these tax breaks because they can't afford to pay for these taxes. Let's say the elderly, right? They don't have income like we do. They're on fixed income, and so that's one of the things that will be the benefit to it. For businesses, you also have the franchise tax that doubled. It went from $1.4 million to $2.4 million now. So that'll be a tax break for bigger businesses, and then part of the compression tax will also benefit the smaller businesses.
Great, thank you. Small business is the heart of this community. And Senator, we know that you know very well the needs of business in South Texas. So, as a part of these property tax cuts, appraisal caps programs, what do you think is going to be the result of this pilot program for small business?
So I hope that it's going to help the legislature more fully understand appraisal caps and property tax relief. One of the things going through this process, we realized that the legislature, we don't have enough data to truly understand the appraisal increases in appraisal caps and how that's going to affect not only our small businesses, and that includes those franchise tax breaks as well, but how it affects also our counties and our cities. So that's something that I look forward to doing, because as everyone's seen recently, even though we're promising a $100,000 homestead exemption, if your appraisal goes up by $100,000, it makes it kind of moot at the end of the day. So appraisals are something we definitely need to get into. It's something we need to look at and analyze and find a better way of going about property taxes. And that applies not just to homesteads, but to our small businesses, our commercial properties, across the board. We need to make sure that we keep that in check. We understand how appraisals get increased and how that affects everyone in the community. The other part of that that also needs to be analyzed and looked at is that when appraisal districts don't increase the appraised value of a community high enough, at least high enough that the state comptroller thinks it should be, then they punish that area by putting a penalty on our school districts. And that's something that we need to look at and change. Because right now the state comptroller says Cameron County did not increase the property values high enough, so Brownsville ISD is getting penalized for that shortfall on the appraisals. And of course, the school districts don't have anything to do with the appraisal values. So that's something that we definitely need to look at. So this pilot program is going to shine a light on a lot of the issues we have when it comes to appraisals, when it comes to small business taxes, and when it comes to what problems we have, where we can find solutions, and where we can make sure that the property tax breaks that we're making at the state legislature go to those that need it the most and go to those small businesses that we depend on for our economy, because it's the small businesses that are the backbone to every city, every county, to this entire state. They're the ones that grow. That's how we have Spall Glass here for 30 years and over 70 years in this state, because we support those small businesses. We allow them to grow to the large companies that they are today and support our communities.
And just as a reminder for everyone, that's on the November ballot, correct? It's Proposition 4?
Correct. It's going to be on the November 7th ballot to vote on property tax relief for the homestead.
And you have a green sheet that I gave you also that has all the propositions that will be on the November ballot as well.
So don't forget to vote. All right. Well, let's stay in workforce development and small business. Senator, we know that that for you specifically, workforce development is at the heart of what you do with your ability to serve representing South Texas. Can you tell us about legislation that you supported that helps build workforce development?
We're very excited. We championed a bill in the Senate that came from the House with Chairman Leach, and that bill allowed TSTC to expand and grow, to work with our community colleges here in the area, to continue to expand into areas, geographic areas throughout the county, and in areas where we still have need for workforce development and for training. And so that's going to have a big benefit for everyone here in Cameron County and throughout the state, because it's going to allow for people to get the training that they need to get those higher paying jobs right off the bat and get out there and support their families as best as possible. What we also saw was that we were able to basically restructure how community colleges are financed. Currently, community colleges get money from the state based on how many kids enroll in their programs, enroll in their school. Well, enrollment doesn't necessarily translate into workforce development. It doesn't necessarily help our employers and our companies down here. What it does is the graduation numbers. So if we switch the funding, and this is with the community colleges' support and a lot of their input, so that colleges are now paid. Their money comes from how many kids graduate and how many of those students go into the workforce using the skills that they learned at community college. It's going to help our community colleges. It's going to help our workforce continue to grow and expand, because our colleges are going to focus on the areas of need that our community has. And that's going to be fantastic for us here in the Valley, for the companies that are looking to come down here, because as you know, you all seen and we've experienced, the growth in Texas is happening in South Texas.
Representative, earlier you mentioned the Broadband Infrastructure Fund. What communities in the region will be eligible, and what can they expect to see in the future?
So Texas is very attractive to businesses, and one of the things that we need to do is improve our broadband infrastructure. And as more businesses come in, we need more broadband, right? We learned through COVID, when the kids were staying at home, we needed more broadband services. I, as a licensed counselor, I would have to call children on the phone because their internet wasn't working, and so I couldn't do a Zoom session with them at home. And so I understand the needs here, and so one of the things that Texas is doing is working on communities, and there's actually a plan that Texas has specifically addressing some of the local communities when it comes to broadband. We have less than 30% of our homes that are without internet services. in Willacy and Cameron County. And so definitely the Valley is one of the locations where that's going to be a target, and so definitely need more funding for that as well.
Great. Let's talk a little bit about the human side of the legislature. Both of you are freshmen. And I'm sure that as you were going through the campaign process, you had some expectations of what serving in the legislature would be like. But we all learned in high school literature the difference between expectation and reality, right? And this is a question for both of you. What did you expect joining the legislature as freshmen, and what was reality? Any reflections on being a first-time public service and servant in the Texas legislature?
Yeah, so walking in there on the first day, it felt like I was, walking into a new school, senior year, halfway through the year, and I didn't know who to sit with, who to talk to, how it kind of worked. Kind of really brings you back to the senior years of high school, but it was amazing. In the Senate, there's 31 senators, and getting to know each one of them has been amazing. They all have such vast experience that each of them are willing to share. We talk to each other about different issues. You saw two senators really getting at it with each other and having arguments on the floor and disagreeing with each other, and then walking off the floor and talking about how their families were doing and what it was like back home, and if someone had a storm, is everyone okay? How is your community? It's just amazing, the friendship and the bond that really all of the senators share with each other, and that's something that surprised me. It's something that I was told about and to expect it, but I was like, you guys are kidding. But really, even despite the political or ideological issues that senators may have with each other, at the end of the day, we're there to work together for Texas. We all have the same goal in mind, to improve Texas, to help our constituents, to help their families, to make sure that they have the health care they need, the high-paying jobs, and that they have the ability to make sure that they can support their families and achieve their goals. It's just a difference of opinion how best to get there. But that's something we can all agree on, whether you're in the House or in the Senate, and that's something we can all come together and work towards. So it's been amazing, and a lot of the senators have just been so great, and I've made great relationships. But with Chairman Nichols, he and I have become very, very good friends, and I continue to be blessed for that friendship and those conversations. And that's one of the reasons why, so he's the chairman of transportation in the Senate, we're going to be able to have him come down to South Texas. And so he and Chairman Canales and myself will be able to go and tour the South Texas, tour the Valley. We're going to talk to all the elected officials, talk to the stakeholders, show them our roads and our infrastructures. And it's because of those relationships we built there that we're able to have that opportunity. So hopefully next session, it's not just us fighting for the infrastructure, fighting for the Second Causeway, but we have friends in the Senate from all over parts of the state of Texas understanding the values and the needs we have in the Valley and fighting for us as well.
Representative, how about you? What was it like to be a freshman in the Texas House?
For me, it was very exciting to see our people get involved. One of the things I always said is, y'all are the voice. We need you up here in Austin, right? And so many of you here in the room visited us in Austin and advocated the issues up there. So that was exciting. People would always say it's like drinking water out of a fire hydrant. I didn't believe it, right? Until we were there working 13, 14 hours a day, right? And so it was definitely very interesting. For me, I had a lot of support also from the leadership also, and I know when we were working on the drainage bill, I went to Speaker Speed and staff and I said, hey, my drainage bill's not getting through. So that's when they contacted Chairwoman Pop and said, work with Janie, work with Janie. So as the only Republican here in South Texas, I used the Republican card several times, hey, I need help. I'm the only Republican in South Texas and I need your help. The drainage bill, I know your team had come to us and said, Janie, it's dead in the Senate. We went and talked to Senator Perry. Senator Perry, I'm the only Republican in South Texas. I did my research, Janie. I don't like all Republicans, but but I like you. I'll help you. And but just those friendships that I developed even in the House, for 150 representatives. So we have to have those relationships conferences with people so that we can get our bills through. If not, they don't get through, right? And so I was able to work with everybody, my colleagues from San Antonio, Houston. They came up here when we had RTV days at the beginning of the session, and for the first time ever, we had 44 representatives that came up here, and our Senator Hughes, they all were excited to come and support me. Half of them were freshmen, you know, so they were like, we're gonna go down there to learn about South Texas, Janie, so we can know how to support you. And they're still saying, we want to come back to South Padre Island, Janie. You know, so it's great that we have you all on our team, right? So, you know, so definitely it was a good year for us, and we'll keep fighting for you all up there in Austin.
Great. So we know that that the work of the legislature isn't ever over. After your regular session and special session and second special session, you return to your communities to do some interim work, right? And to get out there and make sure that your communities not just know what you've done for them, but what you can continue to do for them. And so I know that both of you are establishing district offices. What kind of work goes on during the interim as you're working to prepare for the next legislative session?
Well, as I've been told by many other senators' representatives, this is not a real interim or normal interim, because the special sessions and the different events we have going on in Austin are going to call us back multiple times. But through that interim, we are able to establish those offices, like you said, get out there, talk to our constituents. It's not just about telling you, explaining what we did, having conversations like this, having panels, answering questions about what we did in Austin, about listening to what more we need to do, but at the same time also educating everyone in the community about what is available now, about voting for those constitutional amendments on November 7th, about knowing about all the different grants that are available. For instance, now there are many grants available for rural law enforcement so that they can help with salaries to be able to staff the law enforcement that they need to be able to have. We have grants available for our school districts through TA to help them improve on safety measures. There was some money granted to our school districts for safety, but as we all know, no school, no campus is just alike. So everyone has different solutions and different needs. So there's a grant through the TA where schools can apply for more funds to help with those programs. You know, Point-Isabel ISD built a 6-foot fence and then comes out, no, it should be 8. So immediately they had to scratch the funds to be able to lift that up as last 2 feet because of that. Well, now hopefully we'll be able to have funds available so that we can support those types of programs. So it's about educating everyone about the amount of grants, the programs, the new laws that are going to affect them, but also learning about the needs that are still there and the needs we still need to continue to fight for. And we'll get calls for constituent services all the time. So if you guys ever have an issue, whether it's a local issue, a federal issue, or a state issue, that is what our offices are for. Our offices are there to help you solve problems. If we can't solve that problem at the state level, we'll make sure that you get in touch with the right contact at the federal or local level to try to make sure we can get that resolved as soon as possible. Whether it's issues with the reef here and working with Texas Parks and Wildlife, it's something that we all want to come together and work on because it's so important for our community. And we won't know about those issues unless people like y'all come up to us and let us know.
Representative, we know that all eyes are going to be on the Texas legislature in the months to come. We're expecting on the horizon the Senate trial of Attorney General Paxton and a potential special session on school choice. Do you have any comments on what the public can expect from the legislature in months to come? And will educator salaries be included in any of that at all?
Sure. You know, we have a gag order. You know, the Lieutenant Governor did order us to not speak about the Paxton situation. But however, we can say, and you probably can give a little bit more input on this, is that, you know, there is going to be a trial through the Senate, and that's going to start on the 16th, I believe.
The 5th of September.
The 5th of September. Okay. So, so that will take place, you know, and it'll be public through our view. You can go to the Texas
Texas Legislature website, yeah. Texas Legislature online.
So you'll be able to watch that online. As far as the school choice, I mentioned earlier also, so definitely looking into how to structure the funding that's coming to public education. You have this there in front of you also. Public education is receiving $50.4 billion this time around. So if you hear that schools are going to be defunded, I know we have a school district here, that is not correct. So there's a lot more money coming to you than you've ever had before. And the goal is, at least on the House side, is let's give them more money per student. So let's say you do lose 5 students because they want to decide to do private school, you're not going to be defunded. That there's a lot of scare tactics out there, but we're working on getting you the money that you need so you can be able to give those raises that are important to your staff, so that you can retain staff as well.
Senator, any thoughts? Educator salaries, that might be part of the next special session?
Yeah, it'll definitely be part of the next special session, not just educator salaries, but more funding for our public schools. Because as we all know, our schools, the way they get funded, it's based on enrollment, and we're trying to change that so that it's more, it's based on attendance, and we're trying to change that so it's based on enrollment. We're trying to look at increasing the basic allotment that goes to our schools so that they have more funds to be able to pay for all the costs that they have, including not just teacher pay raises, but raises for our bus drivers and our cafeteria workers and everyone else that goes into trying to educate our children as best they can. And so we're trying to give more money to our public schools and our public education so that it can be some of the best public education in the state, and our kids really will have those opportunities to go on to take those high-paying jobs, to take on those leadership roles, and be the next generation of leaders for Texas. This next session special session in October, is going to be a very big conversation, and we're going to need everyone's input here more than ever, because when it comes down to it, the state legislature is going to listen to those who speak up, but more importantly, it's going to listen to those who vote. So if you all go out and vote November 7th, and they start seeing those voting polls and those voting rates go up, they're going to listen to our area and our constituents more. So we need you guys to go out and vote November 7th, because whether or not it directly impacts that conversation on public education, it will indirectly, because they will see that South Texas cares. South Texas wants to have a voice in the state of Texas. South Texas wants to have a voice in our education. South Texas cannot be ignored. So please go out and vote, but also email, text, not just myself and Representative Lopez on what's most important to you when it comes to public education, but also all of our state leaders. That's what's going to really make a difference. And it's going to be a very long conversation with a lot of different inputs and interests, but hopefully we'll be able to fund our public schools the way they should be funded, so that they can pay for the professions that they need, and they have the resources to truly educate our kids.
So we're nearing the end of our program. Representative, I'd like to turn it over to you for any parting comments.
Sure. Well, again, getting involved is very important, right? So our office is always open to you all. You can send us an email, and that's one way that we'll be able to keep track of what issues you support, what issues you don't support, what are your perspectives on certain ideas. I mean, I'm the type of person that if there was a bill on the floor, I would contact certain people and say, hey, how does this bill affect your community? Is this helpful or not? And so just keep reaching out to us. That's very important. You all are the ones that are getting the work done in your city, so thank you for being proactive about it, and your leadership is very important. We're just there in Austin, you're here in the communities, but during the interim, our office is open, and thank you to Judge Cervino that we were able to get an office there in the Cameron County Annex there in San Benito. And we have one in Lewis County also as well, and so our office is open to you. Mi casa es tu casa.
I don't know about you, but I want my office to be right here.
Senator, any parting comments for the folks of the Laguna Madre area?
Just thank you so much again for coming out. If you guys have any questions, please let us know. We'll be around for a little while, so we'll be here to answer any questions you may have, but also feel free to come by our office. We've got one in Brownsville, we've got one up in Portland, but find me here at the island too. Come on by and see me. If you ever see me at Louis, I'll be there.
That's my backyard.
Yeah.
Before you go, we have a presentation from the chamber. I'll turn it over to Alita.
Yes, thank you all so much. This was amazing, and I do want to say that we did order Chamber of Commerce weather today, so you can thank us for that gorgeous view. On behalf of the Chamber and our members and our Board of Directors, we would like to offer you both an honorary membership in the South Padre Island Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you so much.
And we have over 400 members that you have invested their time, their resources, and their efforts to make our community a better place to live and play. And we thank you both for your time and resources and efforts that you have put into our community as well. And we haven't forgotten you. So this is our one and only Chamber of Commerce cap. These are a collector's item. Worth a lot. We do not want to see this one on eBay. So, please give them a big hand. Would you all stand up? Thank you so much. And thank you for all of you being here today. I do want to mention that Anna Garcia from Senator Cornman's office. Where's Anna? And her lovely daughter. I'm sorry, Anna, but we are thrilled to have her. Thank you again, and we will see you soon. If you need their email addresses, phone numbers, any contact information, please reach out to the chamber, and we can get that for you. Thank you all, and y'all have a good day.